Welcome everyone. Good morning to our good morning and welcome to our chess stream here on lichess and Twitch. International Maestro Sparklehorse slash Slaggy. Our name on Twitch is Slaggy. If you guys want to subscribe over there, I much appreciate the support. Today we're going to be playing 5+3 through 7+3 challenges. It's usually casual, so no rated games. You can challenge anything between 5+3 and 7+3. I'm also willing to play a couple of chess 960 games. I'm like trying to fix the chair here. We had a chair incident. We're gonna have to replace the office chair that I use here for the stream, but in the meantime, the chair problem will be a little bit annoying. All right. Anyway, guys, I guess I'm getting fat. I don't know, but my chair broke. Actually, I haven't been getting fat, but it broke anyway. 3 challenges. It's my weight is like my rating. It like rarely changes. I think I've been in the same 20-point rating range for like the last 2 years since I started playing again. I don't think my rating has fluctuated by more than like 18 points. The Troll in the Roll, Ananas, Abita Boule. Guys, I'm gonna play. Ow, my neck hurts, man. Cramped. All kinds of problems this morning. Chair broken, my neck hurts. Hey Bob, what's up? Not big or tall, but I use a big and tall chair. They're reinforced, much more durable. Yeah, this I read on the bottom of it after it broke that it was imported by Tesco, which is probably not a really good sign. I thought it was like an IKEA chair, though that's not really great either. I call it IKEA. I know the European guys say IKEA. But we need a new chair, so you're going to have to fund me with a PayPal donation. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I have to find a new chair, but it was very comfortable, and I need to find the right kind because I don't want to have, like, you know, a bad back or something. All right, Troll in the Roll, Ananas, Abita Boule. We're starting with Troll. Yesterday we had a simul. Usually that takes a lot out of me. I'm not that fresh this morning because I didn't sleep that well. Actually, whenever I do the simul, for some reason, like the night after I do the simul, my brain like is in kind of hyperdrive. I think that playing all those games kind of sends my mind into this overly active state where I just can't stop thinking. So whenever I go to sleep on Sunday nights after doing the simul, I'm up until 3 o'clock in the morning. I just can't like fall asleep. I don't drink any coffee. I mean, I'm really careful about the caffeine and stuff, but still I can't sleep. It looks like an English opening. I was attacking h7. I've got to watch out for him sneaking my h2 pawn as well. I had an interesting game in a similar position last week where like something symmetrical happened, like c4, c5, bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop takes. On the other side of the board, with this large series of exchanges, but it still was relatively equal. Gladys Troll, you're here. Ananas, welcome. Ananas, you are challenging me, right? I will take the subscriber challengers first. Wait, I'm not in the up-to-date position. Sorry, so I was watching the games, you know, I mean, I looked over the games from Nakamura versus Carlsen, and, well, what springs to mind is one thing that a friend of mine who I work with, who's, you know, about a master strength player, mentioned he knows Hikaru really well. He was mentioning how Hikaru plays chess 960 a little differently than most people. He seems to throw everything at the other guy very quickly. The games were pretty sharp, and I thought, to be honest, I mean, compared to the way that I've approached chess 960, I mean, the games, they looked really, like both sides were taking a lot of risks. I mean, I guess Nakamura more than Carlsen, but, I mean, with Carlsen, his technique is so good. I mean, it just seems like he should play very cautiously in chess 960. He has no reason to take real risks, but it looked like they were kind of playing entertaining chess for fun. I mean, it's like an unrated match. I mean, there's nothing to lose. So there's nothing to hold back. was thinking h4 here. I mean, I guess that's why I started this conversation. There were some games with some crazy early h4 type of things. But that would be not in my normal inclination. Now maybe g3 kills his knight and it gives me h4 later on. But now I've killed my own knight on h1. I don't know. I saw some games that just looked... They got very, very crazy early on, and I thought, that isn't necessarily best play by both sides. So they were kind of having fun with this match, I think. Some of it looks suspicious. Like, there was the one opening where, I don't know, Naka was white, and Hikaru was white, and Carlsen was black, and Carlsen did something like e5 and c5, like, for the first two moves, creating a big weakness on d5. I thought that was kind of ugly way to start the game, like e5, c5. Like a Botvinnik sort of pawn structure on move 1 and 2. I just thought this is a strange way for a world champion to conduct the first two moves of a chess 960. There are other crazy moves. Alright, the knight on h1, I guess. You know, we're playing against the knight on g6 here. So I have to do f4, f3 to get my knight in the game. It is very English-like, except for the fact that I don't have a fianchettoed bishop. I can have a fianchettoed bishop, but it's going to take me a moment to get it there. It also reminds me of like a Dutch or something for black. If he plays f5... I mean, I can play for cheap tactics here with knight to d5, but I guess knight c6 settles that. I mean, it might force him to play like knight g6, knight c6, and in so doing kind of bury that bishop on b8, but he can play a6 and bishop a7, which looks like a natural plan anyway. So you get some insight into the way that I think about this kind of stuff, but I don't consider myself to be any kind of authority on chess 960. I play it, but I don't feel like I know what I'm doing. My king really needs to get settled in. I mean, this queen h3 check is a serious problem. So that's that. Why f3? I mean, my knight has to get in the game. I was even thinking about bishop e4, bishop g2 to create a fianchetto. Alright, I'm just waking up, guys. There's a6. That was to be expected. Half joking about creating a fianchetto, but I'm half serious. I mean, that piece would defend my king side, but it also gives him a tempo. I don't know. But I'm playing a little bit too slow. First game of the day. Yeah, f3 looks bad. You might just think of this as weakening my king side, but my knight must get into the game. And I can meet bishop a7 with bishop f2. It's just prophylactic thinking. It's not really like I'm playing for any kind of offense here at all. But you know the American football saying. I think that's very much my kind of practical approach to the game. The best offense is a good defense. I think it applies very much in chess. I never ever actually conceptually talked about that until this moment. I don't think I've ever said that to anybody. It sounds so cliche, but it's actually reflective of how I actually play. I think I was more ambitious when I was younger, or more optimistic, I should say, not ambitious. Maybe more optimistic as a player. This is a creative approach. Now, I mean, maybe he's going to play for like b5. So it's kind of a dual purpose move. Though I can do knight d5. Well, let's mess with him a little bit. This may be a bad move. Not to say it's like physically impossible that my knight would ever come out on g3. Could you not say the best defense is a good offense? Is that what I said? You're trying to be smart? I don't know, I guess you could say that, Bob, but no one does. Just a smart Alex who like to cause trouble. Which you are. I mean, it's natural to have an offensive style. I think it's more natural, you know. The best defense is a good offense. I've definitely, you know, wondered the same thing as you. We're just going back. Very well. I have bishop takes g6. That doesn't really do much that I can think of. I've induced a weakness in black's position. The position is really closed. We have a kind of line of demarcation on the fourth rank here. His fourth rank, which is like nobody's crossing that so far. So I guess I can afford to lose a tempo. Zen Chess, the best defense is a good offense. He found a Wikipedia org. What's up, Zen Chess? You found a Wikipedia article about it? I'm sure it's like one particular like American football coach or something who came up with this theory. I don't know. It's not some iconic American football coach or something like Joe Lombardi or something. I'm losing touch with my intuition. I am? Well, I already talked about this. I mean, I think that playing 7+3 is making me lose touch with my intuition. If at some point I suddenly like fall out of the screen and on the floor, you guys will know that the chair collapsed. So don't be alarmed. Got a lot of space. But I'm concerned about b5. Prophylactic. Troll in a roll. I mean, you know what's crazy, guys? You're not going to believe me when I say this. I don't know. I thought I was playing a different player other than Troll in a roll. I'm sitting here, I'm staring at the screen, but I'm not looking at the name. And for some strange reason, I guess because I was having a conversation with you guys on the stream, I forgot who I was playing. And that may not be, you know, that may not be relevant, you know, you guys may not think that's relevant, but I really try to use all the information that I have at my disposal. I mean, I'm always thinking about like which opponent I'm playing, like what would be best against that particular opponent and their style. So it's important for me to be aware of like which opponent I'm playing. And like Troll is different from say Ananas or someone else. And I think I forgot like who I was playing in this game. It's still early in the morning. Knight c6, I kind of like the way he played this. He's getting coordinated, and he's not crossing the line of demarcation. Man, I'm sorry for sniffling. But it's much more passive than the usual game. Troll's been a little more aggressive lately. But this game has been ugly. Nothing happening at all. I mean, he could have played b5 for like 100 moves. Going for some kind of initiative. Maybe f5. He's afraid to do anything. John Madden, I don't know. John Madden is a little too modern. It has to be an older coach. You know, I mean, it had to be like some coach from like the 50s or something, if there was someone. I still think it's like Lombardi. Vince Lombardi. Isn't that the name? What did I say? Joe Lombardi? Something stupid? It's Vince Lombardi. Wasn't he like the coach of the Minnesota Vikings or something? In the 60s? Am I even close? We're talking about the best defense is a good offense. Philosophy of American football. John Madden is like an 80s coach. That's too modern. Alright. This is something like my father quoted all the time, and he was like born in 1925. I mean, it has to be like a 40s, 50s American football coach, and it's possibly brought on from some other thing, like obviously Sun Tzu or some sort of warfare philosophy. Now I can play G4 and Knight G3 and get aggressive. God, our knight on a good square. Troll has just been too passive. He's doing nothing. You know, I'll take space eventually if you fork it over. At the same time, he hasn't created too many weaknesses in his own position, so now he's got like take, knight b4, some invasive moves like that. And my pieces are having a little trouble coordinating. I could take, but that takes away from the center. So although he's seemingly passive, black is actually playing pretty well. I don't like this bishop on b1. And my structure... Oh, this is ugly. Too passive. Look at my bishop on b1. This is why sometimes I get kind of... Sometimes I get a little bit sick of the chess 960 games. They're just too closed. This happens a lot. No, I don't think he should do that. It just doesn't seem right. I don't think he should play b4. I mean, releasing the tension here seems bad for black. Unnecessary. He's got the ability to take or not take there, and he should keep that on the table. There was an interesting game between Magnus and I guess one of the ones that Carlsen's last win, you know, in the 6 first games, where Hikaru did a thing that looked very obvious. He just like expanded in the center with tempo with like d4, d5. It looked like he was getting this big space advantage. But then when you saw like Stockfish, Hikaru went from like better to like clearly worse in one move when he like pushed this like tempting central push d5, gaining space with tempo. If you guys look at that game, I guess it was like game 5 or 6. It was kind of almost unfair. I mean, it was a totally natural looking move by Nakamura, and he's suddenly just worse. It was even strange. So Carlsen then took him apart. He basically picked off Hikaru's pawn on h4 in this one game. I guess it created too many dark square weaknesses in Nakamura's position. Now it's getting kind of scary here. But we've got this. Speaking of h4, Troll playing quite a hyper-modern game, I think. But his bishop on a7 may be like strategically losing now. Now, what's he gonna do with this? This looks like it's almost, you know, he can get out through b8, c7 once he moves to c6 pawn. What does it take to beat me? A computer, or just really, really good play? You can challenge me if you want to. I'm like one pawn better here. Sorry, guys. Muted the mic. All right. All right, this is real chess. Real chess. I've been playing some e4, some d4, some c4, some knight f3, but I don't play a lot of e4 in normal tournament games very often. It's good to have Ananas back because he's a strong player, and he plays, you know, fairly theoretical openings, which I miss. You know, a lot of the guys here are kind of amateurs, and they don't subscribe to a lot of opening theory, but I miss that. Now, the Winnower has been an opening that I never really knew very deeply. This variation of the French with bishop b4. Oh man, I don't know what to do. I mean, I know what to do, but I don't know theory very deeply, so what was I planning on doing here? I guess we'll just play the main line. Sorry, Troll, you're too slow. Gotta speed it up. But someone earlier said, no, Zen Chess earlier said, you think I'm losing touch with my intuition. What did you mean by that comment? Because I've said this recently. Are you just repeating what I said, or did you not hear me say that earlier? Zen Chess, because I've been wondering why I like had so much time pressure in my last tournament in December, and I just started to wonder if it doesn't coincide with the fact that I stopped playing, you know, or at least like whenever I've been playing chess, it's constantly with this increment in these 5, 6, 7 minute games, and then why I suddenly started getting in time pressure, you know, for like since a year in all my tournament games so badly, and I'm constantly like using up all my time down to my increment here in my, we'll call them exhibition games here online. I'm just thinking that, you know, it's possible that I need to play more 5-0, 3-0 type of blitz rather than just this, because this is making me like addicted to getting into this ridiculous time pressure. When you play really fast chess, 3-5 minutes, that's fast enough for me. I think it forces you to rely like almost exclusively on intuition. And I was speculating a couple weeks ago that it might even be to blame for my bad results in my last tournament, and why I'm constantly getting in time pressure. So need to just play faster and trust yourself. This is like the main line of the Winnower. I mean, the main line is actually queen a4, queen g4. This is a4. That's a Freudian slip. I kind of said what I was thinking about rather than what I meant. Thinking about playing a4, I said queen a4. Smyslov played a4 quite a bit. Much more common to play it a little later, like knight f3. Of course, one thing about a4, it would rule out the possibility of maneuvers with queen a5, queen a4, which is something that I lost a game, maybe like literally like the last time I played the white side of a Winnower was, it was probably like 15 years ago, or a little less maybe. Like, I really don't play e4 a lot, and the last time I played e4 was against Grandmaster Ildar Ibragimov, and he actually did a queen a5 system and actually put his queen on a4, which is a part of that line. And I never really thought about this, but maybe that's one of the reasons why Smyslov favored playing a4 on move 7 rather than move like 8 or 9, because it stops queen a5, queen a4. I had this once in a tournament game, which I won. It's also possible to play bishop d2. I think that bishop d2 might be more common than queen d2, theoretically. I have Smyslov here, actually. He's in a box. No, I mean, I have his book, one of his books. Almost had like a book pile fall over. This is Smyslov Best Games of Chess, 1935 to 1957. Highly recommend it, Bishop d7. Smyslov, I guess, was world champion. I don't remember exactly before who. In like somewhere sandwiched in there between Petrosian, Tal, and Spassky. Let's see, Bishop d7. I don't remember the order of the world champions really well. This looks like standard line. Bishop a3 is impossible. Spassky actually liked to take on c5 sometimes, but not maybe this kind of position because of knight g6. The real question here is, should I play bishop d3? I have a feeling that bishop b5 is the move, but I mean, I'm just basing that on memory. I don't really know if I understand this move very well. In fact, it might not even be good. Yeah, maybe I'm misremembering something wrong here. Yeah, I just lost a pawn. Wow. That's weird. That's really strange. I would have sworn that was the right moment for bishop b5, but I just lost the pawn. Memory is playing tricks on me. It's a good an argument as any for not not playing moves just because you memorize them. You have to understand the ideas behind the moves. I thought bishop b5 was the right move in that position, but I didn't really know why. I mean, I assume that I want to induce a6, and I assume that bishop d3 can be met by like bishop d3, c takes d, knight b4, which is sort of a problem for me tactically. So I was thinking, okay, it must be bishop b5, but apparently not. It must be like just bishop b2, I guess. Though I don't know what I do on knight f5 there. We should check. There's nothing I could do here, right? No sort of tactic. Pawn takes. I don't know. It's gonna get ugly. I can grab the pawn. Grab the pawn on c5. I can't castle. Can I play bishop a3? Maybe it's not that simple, you know? Maybe it's not clear what's going on. But bishop a3 is quite interesting. Maybe Smyslov knew something. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. Wow, he insta-played bishop a6. This is not at all clear. This is not at all clear. It may not be that bad for me at all. I'm not sure it's good for me, though. I wish I had more time to think about what the heck I'm doing. He's going to end up with his own problems here. After f6, some weaknesses on the e-file. And I can play this move which allows me to castle. But I don't remember that tactic is supposed to crop up. I'm out of here. The temptation to play f4 was pretty strong there. Maybe I had some piece sacrifice type ideas. This looks utterly stupid. Okay, if he puts his bishop on c4, then his knight can't go there. I don't know how else to view this situation. But he's really fast, like constantly playing faster than me. I mean, you manage your clock how you want to, but I prefer, to try to use my time to find the best move. I'm a little surprised by this capture, but maybe it's actually quite solid. I did a simultaneous exhibition yesterday. In that, I had a kind of similar position with a knight against bad bishop, but it wasn't really a bad bishop. Another game quite similar to this, against this guy Clash Kid. I was white in a Slav. Another example of the French defense where the bad bishop isn't bad. I'm not sure he should even exchange it, in fact. NNS playing a bit too fast. Am I down pawns? I'd love to take on h7, but I can't. Yet. I guess white's a little better here. It's a weird structure. On paper, black has the better structure. I've got this backward pawn on the c file, but it's so well securely defended by the rook on e3. It's like an exchange Caro-Kann or some kind of Queen's Gambit type of thing. Black is more compact, but I really didn't want to trade queens. Maybe I should concretely avoid it. Because my king is safer than his king. I've got two possible avenues. Trading queens there is fine, but I was looking for more. I don't know how realistic it is. Rook h3, and I kind of wish I could move my h pawn so my king doesn't get mated on the back rank. Wow, h5. Okay. No fear. I guess I was thinking about g4 originally and then I chickened out. But I mean, I really should have considered g4. I mean, isn't g4 a strong move last move? I was sort of panicking a little bit with the time pressure. Yeah, okay, now g4 is not as good as it was. Just want to confuse him a little bit if possible. I'm hoping to get him to weaken his structure somehow, but this is probably a relatively harmless move. I don't know, man. Opening with bishop e5. Never really saw that before. He doesn't have rook takes e5. I'm kind of hoping to lure the pawns forward to induce weaknesses. Black is really solid though. got to be super careful about the back rank. I don't want an ending. I can try to triple on the E file, but that alone is still not going to do anything. I mean, without a pawn break, I can't make progress here. Objectively, black is okay. Oh, almost blundered. This is the kind of move you could, I mean, this kind of position you could play for a long time. We could play like 100 moves here. I mean, if nothing really changes. At least now there's no back rank mate. Maybe I can play f3 and g4 eventually. Yeah, he's making negative progress. Now I've got to be careful not to allow a trade of queens. Or other nasty tactical tricks. It may be impossible to win without playing a pawn break g4. Gotta watch my clock, I'm down to 16 seconds. Thought I had more. I wasn't looking at the clock for a while here. But the threat of g4 looks fairly strong. That's going to be an issue. King f2 isn't going to cut it. Now there's too many weaknesses for black to defend. I mean, I think that the thing was like playing f5 is like kind of problematic. Maybe he was even holding until the end there. Yeah, so here bishop d2 is the main move. There's an old Smyslov game with queen d2. Obviously there's other games, Timan Korchnoi. It's an okay line for white. Yeah, here I just misremembered. This has actually been played well. But that's weird. 3 games, only one player played knight takes e5. There's even Manka against Namkin from Italy, 1994. I mean, Namkin is like a GM, and not a really strong one, but he's still a GM, and so it's not clear. This is weird. Knight takes e5. This Argentinian game here, Bronstein, Luis Marcos against Compton. This is actually interesting. It's only been played once. Bishop takes b5, bishop a3, the same game. But here contemplate f6, and maybe Ananas's move is better according to the engine, bishop a6. This is like an improvement on quote-unquote theory. So it's best played by both sides for this position, I guess. Now f6. Apparently I'm equal, which I kind of figured something like that. I thought I had just blundered in the opening, but apparently it's okay for white. It was equal according to the engine until this point. Now let's see, when he goes downhill. When he played g6, the engine doesn't like that, you know, so that additional weakness. But I really thought you went over the tipping point when you played f5. But the computer already like thinks that the red light goes on when you play g6, so every pawn move counts. Alright, Spirit of Light, Abiteboulay, Saint Anubis, Vasilikos, Fritz 100. I'm not playing Fritz 100, 5+3 rated. We're playing casual challenges, 5+3 through 7+3. And I want everybody I play to have like at least 100 games here on lichess. Spirit of Light, 1911. Yeah, that was kind of a grindy style game. Alright, I mean, I shouldn't have won it. It should probably be equal. But it's chess. Let's try c4. f4 straight away, San Diego. When you said that, when you're talking about f4 straight away. I was thinking about f4 when I played rook e1, but then I realized that, you know, I'm probably creating too many weaknesses. There aren't that many pieces left on the board and stuff. This is an anti-Slav system. Bishop g4 right away. That's actually quite rare. I can play queen b3. It's kind of a reverse Trompowsky. It's a question as to whether he should exchange or can he exchange on f3. I've had games like bishop takes f3, queen takes b7. Some weird games like that. You can try to play a gambit here. Knight e5, bishop e6. Probably wait on that. I'll just play this, develop a piece. I don't know. It's just a reverse Trompowsky. What's up, guys? Yeah, now I thought, okay, now maybe I'll play knight e5. But even now, it doesn't seem that appealing. With this particular position, I mean, what does it really do? I don't know, maybe it slows down his development. I mean, he won't be able to play knight d7 as easily. I mean, you could consider stuff like g4. I mean, maybe it's not so stupid to play g4. Bishop h5, g4, for example. And if bishop g6, then h4. The problem is, yeah, I mean, when this queen exchange takes place and then bishop goes to somewhere like f5 or what have you, it can come down in here and try to grab that b3 pawn in some lines, which poses an interesting question. You know, so I don't see any reason or sense to play g4, obviously. What do I have here? Do I have an advantage? And if so, what's my plan? There's just like bishop d3, which looks weird. It feels more intuitive to play something like d4, developing my pieces, probably playing it as a pawn sacrifice. Do I have tactics? Can I trap his bishop on b3? Most likely it would get trapped. But black is really, really solid here. Despite the A file, I think that black is close to equal. Just developing his pieces. He's used like no time, 1 minute. I do have c5, but here it's no good. I guess I lose a pawn. In other positions, c5 might be good. I can avoid exchanges of pieces with knight to d3, maybe. This just avoids my pawn structure getting broken. Maybe I'll have c5 at some point, trying b4, c, b5, c5, b4, b5. That's a plan. Yeah, there's some subscribers around. c5, bishop c7, b4, threatening b5. Shouldn't that be good? Looks good. Okay, it's not like the end of the world for black if I achieve b5. It's kind of a standard idea, but still his position is fairly solid. I didn't expect this. What can I do? I don't know. His bishop was pretty strong, actually, this bad bishop on f5, so-called bad bishop outside the pawn chain, but quite an influential piece, I think. You know, maybe his best piece, in a sense, in terms of raw activity. Tushar Kemde, why did I resign yesterday? Because you had a winning position, dude. If I play like the best moves possible, I'll only be clearly worse. If I play the best stockfish move possible, maybe I'm just clearly worse. You played a perfect game, you have a clear advantage. Why would I not resign? Like, I don't want to get tortured. I'm playing 30 games at the same time. You're like demanding an answer as to why I resign against you. I've got to play 30 boards. Why am I not going to resign in that hopeless position? I mean, that's very strange that you would wonder why I would resign. I mean, it's just a terrible position. You made one inaccuracy, your last move, which was not crushing me, but just like grinding me into the dust instead. It was a hopeless position for white. I would resign against anybody there. It was awful. Was it without counterplay? Without any chances for me at all, and I'm like losing on time on like all my boards. Why would anybody want to play on in that position? It just saves me time. If my opponent plays that strong, I can't, you know, expect to have any chance. Dude, I'm really not going to argue about it. It's just a horrible position. 0.9 advantage if you're a computer, dude. I thought it was more like minus 2.5. My position is like falling apart 10 different ways. The only reason that you know it's 0.9 is because you looked at with the computer. But to me, it felt like it was like minus 2, maybe even more. And that's only 0.9 if I play perfect moves in that position. I don't have the capability of playing perfect moves, unfortunately. Most people don't. it's hard to play 30 games at once. So if my opponents are going to play like Masters, I'm going to have to lose most of those games. Where my opponents play like GMs or IMs. Unfortunately, it's going to be kind of tough. But it's very distracting to ask questions like that while I'm playing this game. I mean, it's like we're concentrating on a game here, and you're asking questions about something from yesterday while I have no time. It's hard to concentrate on the game at hand. I can't get in b5. That's really annoying. I wanted to keep my king in the center here, but I got kind of distracted. I didn't see how to put my king on e2 safely here. Black's playing very, very solidly. I don't have any advantage. It's just a surface advantage. It looks like I've got a problem with this pawn on b2. Maybe I should just play b3 actually. Well, I mean, it's ridiculous. You look at a game with a computer and like if you play the perfect moves, it's 0.9, but if you play most other moves, it's probably like, if I was to play the perfect defense, it would be like 0.9. But you have to understand that there's like 6 other moves, and they're all probably like minus 1.7, minus 1.9. I mean, this 0.9 is only if I'm like a computer and I'm perfect. Then I'm like down 1 pawn. But I mean, almost any other move I looked at was like hopelessly losing, you know? You can't just take the Stockfish evaluation and think that people are going to look at the position like that. I mean, to me, it looks hopeless. I don't know. It's easy after the fact to say, well, the computer said it was 0.9. I mean, it felt much, much worse to me. But the different positions are different. But in a game where I had no play and I was hopeless, you know, I felt it was hopeless. Rook a2. Can I suggest you the book Play the French by Watson? I already have it, my friend. Is that a subtle hint, Ananas? It's a good book. It's a little out of date now. How many new editions are there? I like Ananas's backhanded compliment. You only have 3 opening books. Why don't I play Perfect Chess? I don't have a mental, like a brain implant with like Houdini or something. When I have a really bad position, I just want to resign, man, and get the pain over with. You get a feel for the way different people are playing. I mean, if I play a game where somebody's made a lot of mistakes and they have a winning position, dude, I'm going to play on, you know. But if I play a game with somebody who doesn't seem to make even a slight inaccuracy, then I'm going to resign when I'm down a pawn. That's what I did against Kamsky. The dude just won a pawn and I just resigned. Against almost any other human player, I would have played on. But, you know, when you're playing people who play perfectly, or they're basically got a Kamsky, you know, who live to be up a pawn in a position where there's no counterplay. I mean, if my opponent makes mistakes and the game is back and forth, I'm definitely going to play on, even if I have a lost position. But in a one-way game where this guy is basically not making any mistakes, I'm more likely to resign. I mean, to save time, if it's a single game, I would play on. But it's like, when I'm playing a 30-board simul, I need to conserve my time. It's not easy. Sometimes I make bad resignations. I've resigned in winning positions in simuls. I missed the mate in 1 yesterday. My time is like tons of time here. Our position has slightly improved, but it's still really a difficult position to win, I would say. Probably still a draw. I don't really know what to do. Okay, white's better, but it's hard to break through. You could say even very hard to break through. But you guys don't have to worry about my time. Oh, it's 7+2, Spirit of Light. You're supposed to challenge me to 7+3. Sneaky challenge with a 7+2. Rated Scorpions. Genius Scorpions trying to trick me into playing rated over there, too. He just showed up in the Simul yesterday. But I don't play rated and I don't play 7+2. I asked for a 7+3. Time control. This guy seems pretty good for... Pretty good for 1900. He's 1500 in bullet, 1600 in blitz, but 1900 in rapid. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Well, if it does make sense, but he wouldn't be this fast. He's like putting a lot of pressure on me, you know, on the clock. But if he was really a 1600, would he be able to do that? It seems inconsistent, you know. He would be struggling to make moves in time, normally. Oh, this is awkward. I'm gonna like lose on time. Good thing it's not rated. He's fast for a guy who's like 1600. But based on his ratings, I mean, he should be probably the opposite. See how fast he is? I mean, that's bizarre. Seems like he should be stronger in blitz than he is in rapid. He played a hell of a game for somebody who's like 1500, 1600. Now he's down a pawn because he played too fast. He was basically fine. I can exchange rooks here. What am I doing? I get kind of nervous because I don't play a lot of... I'm not playing a lot of fast games anymore. Ironically, he played too fast. But he's got the really low blitz ratings and the higher rapid. So there's just for a few games there. I mean, I really shouldn't judge him, honestly, because it's like 44 games, 54 games. It's not really relevant statistically compared to his other ratings. So I wasn't really thinking about that. Maybe he played like 40 blitz games and then just started playing rapid chess or something. But he's fast. He's deceptive. I mean, when I see somebody 1600 rating and 1500 bullet, I think, oh my god, they're like a turtle, you know. But he actually surprised me. So you were right to warn me about the time. Why don't I play more fast games? Because I like to think about chess. Like, I like to think about my moves rather than just play mindlessly. All right, Abita Boule, we have played before. Nicola Chess has challenged me to rated. I don't play rated games on the stream here. It's hard enough to commentate without them being rated. Alright. Tomorrow night I'm doing a viewer tournament. I think it's going to be blitz. Maybe we'll do like 5+3, something like that. Viewer tournament, 5+3. It's, I can't do +3. 5+2 blitz. Viewer tournament, 7 p.m. Central European time tomorrow. Okay, guys, so you know, we have a viewer tournament I host here on the stream every Tuesday night. Sparkle Horse Arena. It'll be 5+2 tomorrow. I'd like to make it 5+3, but that's not an option. I just remembered. With the homemade tournaments, it's only a maximum of 2-second increment. I don't think it was a great game. I think it was destroyed by time pressure, the last game. I got distracted answering why I resigned in the simul game against Tushar. If I'm a computer, I'm only like -1. Anyways, I just have a feeling when I'm playing whether I have a chance or not. If I feel like there's no hope in those simuls, I'm going to resign. I lost like 5 games yesterday, but if I kept playing some of those games that I resigned, I mean, I probably would have lost more. By resigning the lost positions, it gives me a better chance in the games that I have remaining. Bishop g4 here, it's interesting. I'm not going to say that's a bad move. It's kind of early. I personally like to play knight f6 first. I'm not sure that c3 is my best move theoretically, but it sort of makes sense against bishop g4, I think. It's kind of passive. Damn, you didn't accept my challenge? Well, I guess there's like an order to the list, and I normally take them in order. It's difficult to understand, I know. c3, e5, and we transpose to a weird kind of Ponziani. I don't know what's going on here. Should I just play bishop e2? It's very passive. Bishop e2, knight f6, black seems okay. So maybe I should play bishop e5, possibly transposing to a weird Steinitz. Yeah, this looks like the sharpest move. I've got a lot of challenges. It seems like for some reason Monday morning there's tons of people lately, and that wasn't always the case, but in the last several weeks we've been getting like tons and tons of challenges. I think there's more players on lichess than there were, and I've got to take the challenge from Zen Chess. I forgot we've got a subscriber, so I'll take his challenge first. Ananas. Ananas, why do I have this feeling like I already played you? I did already play you, right? Didn't I? We did play like a minute ago, right? I mean, because I'm just scared, you know, sometimes I forget. Abitabule, what are you doing? Queen d7, no good here. He's losing a piece. I think there's just more players on lichess than ever, and that's why there's more challenges. I don't think it has to do with my stream. I already played Ananas. Okay, I mean, I'll play a second game against someone if we have enough time. If you're a subscriber and I play one game with you and you get back in the list, you know, I'll take your challenge normally. That'll be the policy if you want to try to play a second game, but I'm not going to like play multiple games, you know, in front of other people. We'll just treat, you know, Ananas' challenge like he's a normal challenger. Queen takes f3. Knight f6. We're taking the piece. We don't have to take it right away. But I don't know what I'm benefiting, how I'm benefiting by not taking it right away. On the other hand, I guess this is the most safe move. I could put my bishop on a4, keep him pinned though. What does he have? 2 pawns for a piece or one? 1 pawn for a piece. Feels like more because his center is so compact. I mean, this should be a trivial win for me, but okay, for beginners out there, you know, it's not that easy. Anybody over like 1900 is like, oh, he's just up a piece for nothing, you know. But you know, maybe even this move is bad. I mean, do I want to weaken my f2? It's not, I would call this not 100% trivial. We don't want to make concessions. Like if you trade that pawn on d5 and suddenly give black this flowing sort of center with like e takes d, c takes d, you're still up a clear piece, but Black just gets step by step a little bit better position, a little bit better position. There was this famous game one time when there was a U.S. Open, and Larry Christensen dropped his queen to some guy who was rated 2,000. He got his queen trapped in the middle of the board for like a night or something. You know, he just lost the queen for a night in the middle of a tournament game against a player who was around 1900 or something. And Larry just like systematically got like one little bit of an advantage back, and then a little bit of another advantage, and a little bit of another, and he started like getting more and more compensation for the queen until, like, you know, he eventually won the game somehow. I mean, it could happen. I'm up a piece here, but if I start giving him a little concession here, a little concession there, you know, that's how people lose when they're up a piece. This would be like a very easy position to like start to kind of crumble. If I give him a strong center, it's still not that easy for white, you know. So you gotta be like thoughtful, not just dismissive of like, oh, I'm up a piece, the game's over. You know, that's a sure way to kind of like to screw up a lot of games. So it's like maybe we can learn something even from this, where we're just up a piece on move 10. Just practical thinking. My pieces are not that well developed, you know, if you look here. Another thing. And I didn't want to play rook e1. What if he puts his bishop on c5? He starts to have some counterplay against f2. This is a prophylactic move. I'll start to change my way of thinking. Here I'm looking for tactics, but I don't see any. When I'm up material, I start to be more practical, you know? So now maybe rook e1. Because there's no, you know, no knight on f6, no knight coming to g4. Could play knight f1, complete our development, play knight g3. This looks very strong. I think he wants to play for his f-pawn or something. Why did he move the knight here? Logic would dictate he was hoping to like open his rook up somehow, but that's never going to happen with the bishop on c2. I could have offered him a take back. Maybe I should have offered him a take back when he lost a piece. I don't mind doing some take backs. Yeah, exactly. Like you know, you have to really bear down. Someone said this kind of silly sounding quote, like, you know, the hardest position to win is the winning position, or whatever. You know, there's various forms of this idea, you know. But I mean, the basic idea is that winning position is the most difficult position to win. How many times have I screwed up winning positions? More often than I would like to imagine. Can I just break through on d5? Maybe bishop b3. Seems kind of inconsistent in a way. Here I am going with the knight, now I'm like changing plans. Still, it's not that easy. He can play king h8, and I don't have a winning attack. I was hoping to bring down some pressure on this, but he's got knight b6, and I can't break through directly. Now I have some tricks with queen g4. He just lost an exchange, so he's totally out of it. That's a rook up now. Once against the Grandmaster Huang Tang Trang, woman player who's a men's Grandmaster. In complications, I won a whole rook. And then, like, the queens are on the board. And she was trying some tricky checks and weird stuff, and eventually I blundered and lost. I was very unsportsmanlike. I got very angry, and I was, like, you know, yelling at her, kind of, after the game, like, how do you, like, you know, not resign? I mean, I felt like she should have resigned because it was almost, like, hopeless. But anyway, that's within the rules of chess, so I shouldn't have gotten angry about it, you know, and getting angry about it actually was one of the reasons why I blundered. I was kind of, like, insulted that she wouldn't give up, and I got pissed off about it, and then I got distracted and I blundered and I lost. It'd be better to just, like, put it out of the mind and just keep playing till they resign. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You can't force people to resign. Do any other book authors for chess that talk about strategy are good? The Tartakover book? I don't know which Tartakover book you're talking about. I mean, I often recommend like 500 Master Games of Chess. The problem with 500 Master Games of Chess is that it's in like descriptive notation. So it's hard to it's hard for people to who never read descriptive notation to deal with. Like, you make mistakes when you're playing through the games and stuff. It's almost impossible not to. It's kind of sad that there's no, what do you want to call it, a translation into descriptive notation for that book, because it's a great collection. There are other books that I think that Tartakover is responsible for writing. They don't pop out in my mind right now. He lost to a 13 in a local tournament. Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, I felt really bad after, like, I yelled at Huang Thang Trong and embarrassed that I acted like that, but it was, I was very emotionally invested in the game. It was a really, really tense game, and a lot of complications, and I was totally winning, and then I blundered, and I would have resigned if I were in her position. She was down really, like, literally a rook. But I can't expect the same people to show the amount of respect that I do. You know, everybody to be the same, have the same set of guidelines that I have. This was something that happened like years ago. I mean, it happened like 10 years ago. It's not a recent event. I thought I was checkmating here, but apparently not. Close. Now we got it. All right. So I'm going to take any guys who are subscribers. Zen Chess is a subscriber. I have trouble pronouncing that. Having met with Judith Polgar, I've never actually talked to her. You know, we've been in the same tournament hall. I don't know her. I always had a kind of respect for Judith Polgar. I think that she's a decent person and pretty good for the game. So I like to just judge people on you know, a one at a time basis. I think the Judith Polgar is an upstanding chess citizen. The great predecessors, I like great predecessors. 3G Tamil. I have one or two of the books. I think I have two, but only one of them I have here in Hungary. I'm in Budapest. Yeah, the Kasparov predecessors is good. I have another book that he wrote, Revolution in the 70s. I mean, I think that Gary isn't like a prolific chess author, but he's given back quite a bit in that series. So I think he really, you know, probably wrote most of it himself. Yeah, I like Jay Polgar. She's all right. I'm sorry to see that she, you know, she stopped playing. I'm not a big fan of her style personally, like as a player. But as a sportsman, you know, and as a competitor. Oh no, it's the Najdorf. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, Zen Chess, I'll play f4, beating the Sicilian 3. Well, I don't know, you'd have to ask her why she stopped playing. I mean, I guess people think that she stopped playing because she has kid or kids, I don't know. And she just wanted to concentrate on her personal life. But she's not young. I mean, she's got to be like 40. Okay, if Judith is not 40, she's close. For a chess player, that's like old. I guess in any sporting endeavor, it's old. I'm a dinosaur. Knight on BD7. So Maybe Zenchess knows more theory than me. What happened the last time I played him? He out-theoried me in a wing gambit. Ow, my neck hurts. I think I twisted it in the night. Well, Tushar, I guarantee she's not too much more than 40. If she is, because that's getting too close. Too close for comfort. I'm 39. I'm not too old. I'll be 39 forever. We played a game this variation before. Okay. Well, I don't know of any other move other than bishop d3 for me. It's a small chance I might have played something like a4. But I think this is absolutely like a main line, or at least was a main line. The interesting thing about this variation, it's gone out of fashion totally. The last person I saw playing it was like Josh Friedel years ago. That was a long time ago, though. He's like a younger American player who's a GM, relatively young. He's like in his 30s. This sounds early 30s. b5. But I don't know the theory here. I'm just playing on intuition. I don't even know if I'm supposed to react to b5 or what I'm supposed to do. Am I supposed to prevent it? Like with a4, am I supposed to play a3? I think my default policy is not to weaken my pawns. But Zenchess is just doing this thing where he does the Najdorf setup pretty naturally against everything. Maybe I can play like knight h4 here. Inducing g6. But I'm just not sure how I'm going to follow up after that. We go knight h4, then we come back. This is probably just unsound. Oh well. It's a fast game. You did this 42. Wow. I'm like a vampire, you know. I'm not going to get older. Alright. Chess vampire. Anatoly Karpov. Karpov was the strategic chess vampire, but well, Tushar, I wouldn't say years ago, man. I mean, it's just been in the last year or two that she's officially retired. She became less active years ago. But she only officially, like, said she stopped playing in the last 2 years. b4. The problem with this, you're messing me with this b4, you're messing with me. Alright, I've got to retreat back this way. This is definitely a pawn sacrifice. Zenchess always plays the Najdorf. I wanted to do something aggressive. Karpov versus Misha. Karpov versus Misha. Oh wait, Karpov had a match against somebody now? But that's ridiculous. Like, Karpov is... Karpov's played some exhibition games, even here in Hungary, that were, like, abominable. He doesn't seem to really care at all anymore. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Nothing that Karpov does anymore chess-wise is relevant. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but it's absolutely true. Sadly, Karpov is a paper tiger. Maybe like my favorite player, one of my favorite players of all time. Zen chess, very systematic. But hopefully we can weaken his king side somehow. I feel like I'm playing the Grand Prix attack. 3. He's 2.5. And he knows the rules of chess. Now castles. Well, alright. This actually doesn't seem that bad. Worst comes to worst, I sacrifice a pawn. It's a little like a Sozin or something. I never really liked Polgar as a player because she's like mostly just tactics. Not that universal style. Pawn takes e5. Pawn takes f5, pawn takes f6. This looks pretty strong for white. Just not a lot of time to think, but I have this straightforward bishop g5 pin that looks extremely strong. So I'm not sure what his best is here. It may not be the obvious. I don't know how much Zen chess is actually calculating, but I've been playing really fast this game. He had various opportunities, and maybe he could have taken on e4 at one time. Gotta start with the immune boosting mushrooms. Is that right? That's been my problem all along. I like mushrooms. The hallucinogenic ones? Wait, where's Spinal Tap chess? This has gone totally wrong for black. I liked his opening, it was like perfect. But now he's like on the verge of devastation. Barely staying alive. There's got to be some kind of brilliant, crushing shot here. But I don't see it, of course, because I'm not brilliant enough. Knight f5 check doesn't work. Knight h5 check is interesting, but then what do I do next? After the knight h5 check takes, I need another another guy there. Please don't let me walk into a tactic. Knight takes e4. No. But he's got h6 staying alive, and I was thinking of sacking a piece there with knight h5 in that moment, and then going like bishop h4. Okay, this also may work. That stops the my whole darn idea. That's disappointing. And he's got knight g4 now. Back to the drawing board. I mean, on the surface, my position looks very good. Maybe I had bishop c4 there. But I'm playing too fast now. Bishop c4, queen takes c4. He could just decline it, though. Your credit card is declined. I mean, optically, this looks really good. I'm not sure if black needs to play h6. Maybe he could just play like knight g8 or something. But again, it feels like a clumsy Grand Prix attack. b3 pawn. Is that relevant? Not yet, but it might be. I kind of like the way that black is defending this. Alright, let's pile up, and then maybe we can find a second target. h6. We're actually threatening nothing. I mean, despite all my efforts, I have no direct shot. He's defended f6 many times. I kind of thought he might even play bishop a6, as strange as that is. He could actually take this pawn on a2. I mean, that really looks crazy. That can't be good. But I feel like I'm playing for time. Rook takes f3 almost also won at least 2 pieces. Rook takes f3. Knight h3 followed by queen g3 previously. Okay, that was what I was looking for. Maybe I did miss my chance there. But like around the point where his queen is on e7 here, I played this. Knight h5 check followed by queen g3. I looked at this, but I didn't understand how it works. I thought he could just move his king with something like king h8. But logic would dictate that that doesn't work. Maybe h6. That doesn't work too. Yeah, it wins. I should have played that. All right. There almost has to be a tactic here. I don't see it. Queen g5. I can sack a piece here on h5. I hope this is enough. But I feel like I'm playing for time in this game. I didn't really like my position. I didn't like the type of structure I got. It just feels like I'm inferior structurally. This looks really strong though. He's got no defense here. He's got no defense here except for his defense. Oh my god. That was like my best attacking piece. This was absolutely unsound. I mean, I missed all sorts of tactics, and I'm sure that he did too. It was not good. Opening theory wise, maybe I'm supposed to play a4 or something. No, knight f3. Now a4. Okay, so this is an important moment. He was saying earlier that he wasn't sure if I played bishop d3, and yeah, I mean, I think if I have to do it over again, I would opt for a4, allowing this b5. b5 is like, look at the statistics. b5 has only been played in 19 games, yet black has 58% here. Noticeably better than any other line. Only a few games. Most players play queen e1. There's actually some games here. Wow. Knight h4. It looks like just a concrete mistake, but maybe not. I just played this on intuition. And he can win a pawn, but I'm getting counterplay with knight f5 and all these lines with some attacking chances. So apparently it was okay, except at one moment I was lost. Here, I was totally winning with rook g5 check, which I absolutely missed. Because of bishop c4. I was looking for this tactic quite a bit, actually. Wow, apparently I also have rook takes f7 there. Damn. But if knight g6, like what, bishop c4? Yeah. That's devastating. I should have seen that. So he was winning for one moment after king g8. Bishop takes f8. I knew this was a, well, not winning, but better. I knew this was a fail, but damn, I didn't see this. Alright, yesterday I missed a mate in one in my simul as well. Haberbomb is a subscriber. I'm going to take that challenge, and then we'll go to the rest of you guys. Knight h4 looks nice. I like it, and I like not weakening my queen side. No, it wasn't a bad game, actually. Just that he had that one moment where he's better when I failed to play rook g5 check. But he should play b4 and probably call my bluff in the opening there. After knight h4, b4, knight e2. Well, he did play b4. But the question is, what is the best after that? I'm not sure. Maybe he should try to take the pawn on e4 somehow. I don't know. Haberbaum, are you with us? Maybe he wasn't expecting to play because he was so far down in the list. Does the move order matter for the opening, Book Explorer? There are some weird situations where sometimes it seems to matter. It shouldn't really matter, but it seems like sometimes like games just, you know, don't pop up and sometimes they do. So I'm not really sure about it. It feels like sometimes it does matter, though it shouldn't really matter, I would think. In principle. I'm going to play a modern defense. So, can also transpose to a King's Indian after c4. Yeah, let's just try to play a normal King's Indian. I often play c5. Maybe it's like a Benoni. My loss against... With the white pieces, I lost against the guy I can never remember his name last year. It's like losing on time on move 25 in a slightly better position. Kovalenko. Wasted all my time. Haberbaum plays h3. This is a really aggressive system. Do you have to play this line? Seriously, dude? Like, this is like the last game I played where I lost. My last loss was this exact variation. Like, I really need that to remember that. Did we play this already? Against Galyash, I did something ridiculous. I played like Queen A5 next move. Okay, I have no idea what happens here if white does something weird like F4. Then I probably would play a Queen A5. Okay, that would become like a Peart sort of thing. C6 is not really a typical line. Anyone? Yeah, I don't play on chess. Chess.com. I was thinking of deleting my account. I never used it. Okay, bishop g5, c6. Okay, c5 the Benoni is fine. Yeah, against Galyash, I got surprised in the opening because he totally like wasn't supposed to play this. He played the fianchetto like all of the last games he played against the King's Indian. I had prepared for fianchetto King's Indian. The guy plays this, and then I was like second guessing myself and playing some stupid Queen A5 move here. I got a horrible position, got in horrible time pressure, and like actually equalized and then lost the game again in time pressure. I was like minus 1.5 after 18 moves, and then somehow equalized, and then managed to lose again. GM Dlugi. I'm sure he'll find another racket. Knight f3, a6. I played Dlugi once. It was actually this variation. Isn't that strange? Life has all kinds of strange coincidences. But the irony was that I was white. Like one of the only like maybe 2 or 3 times ever in my life I played the Makaganov system with white. And ironically, you mentioned Dlugi, he played c6 and a6. It's so strange the way life is filled with these little coincidences. I lost this exact position with Max Dlugi with the white pieces. I don't think I played a4 though. I wouldn't do that. a4 is too inflexible. Fixing the queen side, this is kind of a standard motif. I mean, maybe white still has some space advantage, but when he loses this queen side squares, I think black has adequate counterplay. Now e5. Is e5 sound? Can I do that? I think I had actually played knight a6 before in a game or two. Speaking of knight a6, it's a totally random coincidence. The only game I ever played with Max Dlugi, and this position's on the board. I had a good game with white. I was fine, and then I don't know what happened. Just some weird miscalculation on the queen side. And then he just was better. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do here about this e5. I feel like I should play e5, but I can't quite figure out like how I'm not losing a pawn if I do that. Haberbaum seems to know opening theory really well. I don't really like a4, but I'm not sure what I should do here. I want to play e5. It just seems to drop that pawn. I don't know, maybe I'll just play knight b4 and worry about it later. This way, if he plays bishop b1 now, his rook is kind of funny. Though he can do rook a3 and try to get it in the game laterally. That's not that easy to actually execute. Queen e8. Knight d7 might not be that bad. I really don't want him to play e5. I'm terrified of that. That would totally mess up my whole position. So I was actually thinking maybe queen e8. But I like the way that Haberbaum plays the opening for you know, not really high rated player. He's trying to play challenging variations that a lot of people you know, are maybe not that knowledgeable of. I mean, h3 for example against the King's Indian, I think it's been known for 30 years, but I mean, or longer, I mean actually, but that's really one of the most aggressive systems I think white can play. You try to take play to the king side, This is a bad move. It's not a horrible move, but I don't think that it's the right idea. You got me in a situation where I'm pinned. And it's hard for me to free myself, and now I can play e5, which was my hope, really. And now I have an adequate position. If I can't play e5, I have a problem. You need to try to cross my plans. I thought something like rook e1. Rook e1, it doesn't do anything special, but it's still hard for me to untangle. I don't know. I don't really want to play h6. I was going to play like queen e8, and maybe something like rook e1, queen e8, e5. Though admittedly, that's kind of double-edged. Alright, this looks like a pretty normal-ish. Normal-ish kind of King's Indian. Is he gonna, like, he wouldn't take on c5, give up his dark-scored bishop, would he? My knights are looking good. I've got some ideas to play on the king side, maybe. I guess I can play bishop d7 and complete my development. Take with the bishop on c6. Knight d7, rook e8, and queen c7. One thing I almost never do is play queen c7 in the King's Indian. You can play it in the Old Indian. It's actually a very important it's a very important concept, putting the queen on c7 in the Old Indian. But my experience with queen c7 is that it's rarely good in the King's Indian. There are some exceptions. Maybe like if there's an exchange on e5 or something like that, really straightforward. Knight e2. Huh. I don't know. Part of me wants to exchange and part of me does not. Maybe I'll just let him take on b4. Start my kingside counterplay here with like f5. It's a little risky, but he's getting himself undeveloped. So this looks okay. Now our a rook is active. We're getting counterplay on the king side. The long diagonal could become open if he takes an f5 or something. Black could just take over here. Very smooth development. Now white is looking kind of troubled. Guys, I've got like 45 minutes left, so I'm gonna play as much as I can. We lost a lot of challenges. We're down to 4. We should be able to play at least 3 more. Here, I don't want my pawns to become like isolated or anything, so we're gonna try to keep these guys fluid. If there's a capture on c5, I want those pawns to be. I don't want one of them to be isolated, basically. We're very active here. Thanks for the stream. I'll see you later. Okay. Thank you for watching and hanging out with us, San Diego. Doogie didn't cheat. You suspect that one of Doogie's students? I wouldn't think Doogie would cheat. But one can never know. I don't trust even grandmasters. Maxime is a really strong blitz player. I did find it surprising that he was accused. Maxime. He's also not a person who probably needs like money or something, so the financial incentive to cheat for him wouldn't be very high. It would be more a question of like image or something. Speaking of queen c7, this looks like a situation where it might actually be the best move. I don't like d7, and I have to keep d6 protected, so I don't like putting my queen on d7 where it interferes with the bishop on c8. I prefer b6 or e8 for my queen, but d6 is hanging. So the other option, though, that was reasonable for me would have been to play bishop f6, but the bishop has so much potential long diagonal. Haberbohm is really trying here. He's trying to set up kind of a classic blockading strategy. But there's just too many ways for me to... It just looks like there's too many ways for me to cross his plans. I can take on d5 to start with. And that will take pressure off the d-pawn. If he plays queen takes d5, I have bishop e6 here, which just wins material. Well, I thought this simply wins material. I mean, I may be wrong, but I don't know where he's going to go. He has to go to like d1 or f3. But maybe it's not so simple. Queen f3. It's definitely a weird idea. I mean, it looks like stuff is hanging. My f7 is hanging as well. But I like my game. Let's just keep everything protected while keeping c4 under surveillance. Now he's on that. Wow, he defended that as well. Now f4. f4 loses a piece to h6. I'm clearly better here. -2. -1.7, 1.8. It's a really problematic position for white. I mean, he needs to like blockade my central pawns, but he can't really play that. It looks like it's like losing a piece. Okay, let's see what we got left. Anubis. Saint Anubis. Do you have like established rating? No. All right, I'm gonna decline that. Unless you're a subscriber, Saint Anubis. Where is this? I don't want to see this. I want to see my challenges. Saint Anubis has no games. I normally don't play anybody who doesn't have at least 100 games. And you have 0. So let me know you're like a subscriber or something. I'll take the next challenge. Vasilikos, who I have played before. Everyone other than you cheats. But I don't really understand why Maxim Dlugi would cheat. You know what I mean? He has a lot of money, as far as I know. He's a really strong player. Why would it's? I could understand like a kid who wanted to win the money in the tournament or something, but for like an older grandmaster who's financially secure, it seems a little strange. It just... The story about the student actually kind of makes sense, because I just don't really get why Max would do that. You know, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Maybe it's possible. It just seems weird. You know, randomly at the age of like 60, he's gonna start cheating in online blitz tournaments. I don't know. I'm sure they had a reason, sir. But nobody knows the whole story, including me. Chess.com is they're obviously expert in computer detection, since like 70% of the players on their site cheat, and they don't do anything about it. I would really trust their computer detection system. I don't think that it's surprising that a young player like Tal Baron would cheat, man. I think it's more surprising that a older player like Dlugy would cheat. He's been around the chess world forever. I mean, he has a lot more reputation to lose too. The motivation doesn't make. I don't see it, you know. I really don't. Like a kid trying to win some money or something, make himself look good. But Dlugy is like a really, really strong blitz player. Yeah. I mean, we're talking like over the board 1 minute chess. The guy would beat like a lot of the top players here on lichess, even at the age of whatever he is. Like, he's not 60, but he's got to be close. He would probably clean out most of these young guys who are playing 1 minute online if you put him in front of like a real board, and also like online too. Because I've seen him play fantastic 1 minute chess with the real pieces, you know. He's been playing 1 minute chess since before most of these guys were born. I mean, I'm not a huge Maxim Dlugy fan, but you gotta admit when someone's good at something, you know. He is like one of the original bullet players. Before internet chess even existed, the guy was playing 1 minute chess. I'm just kind of making this up as I'm going along here against Basilikos. This is, I don't know, this is kind of a weird order of moves. White played bishop c4, then bishop g5, almost like mixing two systems together. But I'm really bored with this cheating discussion, and I know a lot of the other people get bored with it, so let's just talk about something else. It has nothing to do with my stream. Chess.com has nothing to do with anything I'm interested in, so I really don't want to discuss what happens there. Let's talk about, you know, what we're doing here. F3, rook c8. This is weird. Bishop c4 and bishop g5. I don't think they really gel well together. It started out as a Sozin, and then he played bishop g5. And there I decided to play e6 because of knight b5 ideas. I decided to play a6. He played queen e2. Now, it's possible I have some trick with knight takes e4. It's not working here. I'm sorry. Bishop e7 would be my normal reaction, but I decided to do something different with bishop d7, and then f3 and rook c8. And Vasilikos is thinking, well, white plays a f3 type of setup, then his only plan later on is to play like g4, h4, etc. But this bishop is usually back on f1 in these kind of positions. Here it's kind of a target, and I can gain time. Still, I don't know. Just b5. He can stack a piece on b5. That actually might be good. Somewhere I saw something where Brian Smith was talking about this kind of, maybe it was Chess Lecture, I don't remember which site, but where white can do piece sacrifices on b5, it's better for white not to have played f3. That was the basic conclusion in these sort of Sicilian positions. But b5, bishop takes b5, pawn takes b5, knight d takes b5. I don't know why it's really relevant there. I don't know. I don't see anything special here for me. I'm just going to complete my development. Like, I'm a little tired, I guess. Too lazy to calculate here. But there's no tactics that I can see. Knight takes e4 almost never works. The basic policy with that tactic. You play g4. Knight takes e4, knight takes e4. End of story. Knight takes d4. Queen takes d4. I was wondering if I have some tactics with rook takes c3. I don't see anything clear. You'd think with that bishop hanging along the c file, I mean, something has to give here, but it's not obvious. Knight takes e4, knight takes e4. Knight takes d4, queen takes d4. You can try what you want, but I don't see anything there. Queen a5, knight b3 is always good for white. Probably I should just like castle, but then his bishop goes back to e3. This is kind of a threat, you know, his bishop going back to e3, and then he initiates basically like a standard attack on the king side. h5 is like crazy. Take and play b5 or something for me. Nothing special. I can take and play queen a5 and then queen c5 trading queens. I don't really see anything better. I mean, this is probably what I would do in a tournament game, something safe. Actually, this is not even clear. Okay, he doesn't have queen d2, obviously. Not necessarily best, but like a safe continuation for black, where I can maybe force a trade of queens into an equal endgame. This doesn't even do that, though, in actuality. I can't necessarily trade queens. Although I could play queen c5. Let's see. Bishop e3, queen c5, queen takes, pawn takes. That's not really what I want to do. I don't really want to play d takes and lose control of the center. Maybe I can play... I mean, even b5, b4 doesn't look good. So this stupid bishop e3 just seems to solve all of his problems and everything's fine. That's what I did, Turkey. And still, I mean, I'm liking white. Bishop e3. Okay, it looks like a normal kind of rouser position, to be fair, but it seems like he has good attacking chances. Even this move may be good. Trading queens is a little overrated, but I better do something. I was thinking about playing h5. By playing h5, I can mess with this pawn structure. That could give me a little bit of counterplay. Queen takes, rook takes, bishop e3, h5. And life is not so simple. If he had played bishop e3, queen c5 is just not really great. Queen c5, queen takes c5, pawn takes c5, e5. What am I doing? I don't think I can play queen c5 after bishop e3. Okay, now if I don't trade queens, I have to be careful. I can play h5 right away. But safety first. This will possibly isolate like one of his pawns. He could probably just take with a pawn. Pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn. Play rook d1. Pawn takes pawn, rook takes. Rook d1, slightly better for white. Pawn takes, knight takes. White is still slightly better. Rook d1. I can play like rook c6 at some point to do an Ulf Anderson hedgehog kind of defense. But I like white here a little bit. I lost ascending against Volokitten. This kind of endgame, but he didn't play, you know, it was like, imagine this position without like h4 and h5. I lost. Very painful endgame while he was kicking my feet under the table. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, e5, bishop takes f6. That doesn't make sense, does it? Yeah, but that's not so clear. Well, anyways, I think I need to do this. Knight takes g4. Bishop takes e7, king takes e7. Rook takes g4, e5. Rook takes g7, pawn takes d4, rook takes f7, check. Complications. But maybe it's better for me not to, you know, give him all that play. But do you have a better idea? e5. I want to see this knight takes g4 again. Take, 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 e5, rook takes, pawn takes d4, rook takes f7, check, king d8. I don't have a better idea. Well, he just did this right away. I mean, I don't know if it matters, you know, the order of moves. He just panicked, dropping his rook. I'm curious to see after the game what was really going on. Guys, we have time for like 2 more challenges. Castles and b5. I must have an attack. White always has the better attack in these kind of rousers. It was a weird position. I don't know. He just blundered, losing a piece, exchange. But now it's so simplified, there's no chance for white. It was a tragic mistake. Played too fast. I felt like probably he was better in that line where he gets a couple pawns for the exchange and his rook on the 7th rank. But at the end I decided to play it because I thought I could probably hold. But I didn't think I was better. I thought I was actually on the defensive there. In reality, this is lost. So, want to see what happened there. What was happening there? We got him tied down. Eventually I should play f5. This is better than it was a minute ago. This is not healthy any longer. Is that mate? Alright. It is mate in 1. But I want to see that. And I want to see the opening. Has this ever been played before? Bishop g5 is an extremely rare move. There's a Kovlek game from '74. Formanek versus Weinstein. Norman Weinstein. Alright, a6. Norman Weinstein is the economics professor from Harvard, right? a6, queen d2. Only a couple games. It's a very unusual line. f3 did seem kind of weird, but there's nothing special for me here. Rook c8 was debatable. We've got an actual game. This guy does articles for Chess Base, right? Albert Silver, some Brazilian master. He's like a 2200 from Brazil. 96. He's as old as I am. Bishop e7. We're following the actual game, and here we have the new move g4. Knight takes d4, queen takes d4, queen a5. The engine there liked e5, but I wasn't convinced by that, you know. I wasn't sure. I never really liked to go into this sort of structure. So I did this. The problem is what I said, bishop e3. Now I don't know what to do. You know, this looks slightly better for white. b5, b4 apparently I can play, and I'm okay. But h4 was a mistake. Computer doesn't like my trading queens though. Thinks I sold out. I think after h5 I'm good. And for a minute I saw knight takes g4 pipping up on the screen there, but now it's like, nah, don't do that. I thought he had adequate counterplay here. Bishop takes e7, king takes e7, rook takes g4, e5, rook takes f7, I mean g7, pawn takes, rook takes check. But apparently this is not good. I had planned on playing king d8, but the engine says king e8. I guess I forgot the idea of king e8, you know. Staying on this rook makes it not possible for him to play knight b5, knight d5. Because I only looked at this, and I thought, white has a lot of active play. But anyway, it probably isn't that good. Alright, dangerous ride. Do you have actual games? It's a new account. Chess Testosterone, not playing 3-3. Tushar, vodka drunk. Alright, we'll play Dangerous Ride. He was waiting, but I'm hesitant to play people who have less than 100 games. Just warning you guys now. I don't really like that. You know, people who don't have any games invested on the site oftentimes are like sort of just trolling me and stuff. So I prefer to play people who have an identity, have established some and put some time into their account. But I'll make an exception once in a while since you've been waiting and you've been, like, you know, chatting on the stream. Guys, I have time for one more game after this. Yeah, I mean, it looks like Turkey was right that maybe I should go with some kind of b5, but I wasn't sure that I'm even equal, let alone better. But I mean, that's normal. It was a typical position for the Sicilian. It's probably like a Tarash here. The books are very harsh on this move. I think that there were some old games where black lost, but it's probably not such a bad move. I think Capablanca played this in some ancient game from 100 years ago, or almost. So the truth is that this may not be so bad for black. I've seen h6 also played. I've also played this position like millions of times with colors reversed. Various permutations of this stuff. Why aren't I playing bird? It's not Wednesday. Like Wednesdays I have the same time stream at 10 a.m. but I play unusual openings. I've never, it's possible I've never actually played the bird proper. I think I've played b3 on move 1. And then played f4 on move 2 or 3, but I don't know, you know, I don't remember. I don't really like the bird opening. I feel like it's not as good as the Dutch defense. c4. This is a theoretical position. Normally he's castling first, so it's slightly different than the usual. I'll probably get crushed. One more game after this, guys. Whoever it is. Sai Baba. 62 games. Whatever. He's got some bullet games and anti-chess games to make 100. That's really what I ask, guys. That you play 100 games. But Dangerous Ride, I'm making an exception because he was openly chatting in the stream. If you're just a random and you don't say anything, I'm definitely not going to play you. So guys, this game and one more, and I've got to go. The bird opening. You see, the problem with the birds opening is it's actually not the, it's birds, bird apostrophe S. It's named after Henry Bird. When you play the Dutch, white plays d4. He makes a commitment, and he's putting pressure on e5, but kind of like not guarding the e4 square. And black counters with f5. It's almost like martial arts, like white saying, okay, I'm going to play d4, control the dark squares. I'm going to kind of ignore the white squares. And so then black goes f5. But when you play the birds opening, black hasn't made any commitments at all yet, And so I feel like the birds opening in that respect is not as good as the Dutch. If you play 1 f4, put it on the computer, it's going to say black is better. Whereas if you play like d4 f5, I think that the evaluation might be a little better for the Dutch. White has less flexibility after committing to d4, and black starts to play for control of the e4 square consequently. But you play f4 straight away, black has not made any kind of commitment at all, and you're kind of weakening your king side. That's why I don't like the bird. It's not, it's good if it turns into a reverse Dutch. That's great. Then you're all set. But if black plays in a way that doesn't turn into a reverse Dutch, if black plays like d6 on the first move, or g6 and knight h6, or something where he's not playing d5 necessarily, or e5, the Fromm's gambit is obviously good, then the bird isn't so good. That's the issue. Anyway, long explanation as to why I don't like the birds opening. Are there structures? Yeah, you can play 1g3. I mean, I think that the Danish Grandmaster Heinrich Danielsen plays all kinds of permutations. He's playing like g3 on move 1 and f4 on move 2. There are other things you can do. Probably play like d3 on move 1 and f4 on move 2. This h6, huh? Doesn't leave me with that many choices. Something weird about h6. Why doesn't anyone ever play h6? Like, it's strange. Oh no. Wait, do I have knight takes c4 here? How good is that for white? Is that something, or is that just nothing? Maybe nothing. I don't know. It's a tactic, though, that you should keep in mind. f4 is kind of like the normal way of playing. Will I get a chance to play? It's 5+3 challenge. Tushar, I don't think so. I think you're one away from playing. This guy was in the list higher. So I have to play him first. Maybe tomorrow night. You can play in the Blitz tournament. 5+2. So recapturing here, I'm just taking with the D pawn. Then he's playing queen b6. That looks kind of unpleasant. Maybe I should take with the f pawn. I guess I have to take this way. I just didn't like that queen b6 too much. Like, fortunately, f6, pawn takes pawn, rook takes, queen takes, knight takes d5, and I'm slightly better, I hope. Though, what's the plan? Yeah, e4. This looks promising. You know, it's like a stonewall attack. Taking toward the center with f pawn is more natural. Though I like taking with the d pawn, I'm triple attacking d5. Yeah, you can try to play the birds by being sneaky. So if you play like d3 or g3 and black plays d5, I think that's totally reasonable to play g3 and then after d5 play f4. But you have to take care that there are really aggressive ways for one to play against the birds, like, or the Dutch, as the case may be. You know, maybe when you play g3, you have to watch out for setups where black tries to like, or whatever color, you know, you're dealing with, they try to rip you apart by doing a very, very quick attack with the h pawn, with h5, h4. Now, obviously, when you're white, you're going to have a lot more resources available. So I would think that like g3, d5, f4 is a totally like legitimate system. This is what I was just talking about. He can't afford to take with the g pawn. I mean, his king side will be ripped apart. So we just win a central pawn, gaining like time by attacking his queen. We're going to play one more game, guys. Why did you discard this kind of challenge from Chess-Tosterone? There was, I don't know, there was rated challenge. There was challenges from wrong time controls. And there was a challenge, maybe there was somebody who had no games. I don't remember. There was a reason. I didn't just like randomly decline anybody's challenge. Either they didn't have enough games, they were rated, or they were challenged me to the wrong time control. Playing for the e5 square is a mistake based on hundreds of bird games played. I don't know, man. It's like probably the single most important strategic idea. Queen g5. Playing for the e5 square, you mean for white's perspective? I thought you meant from black's perspective. I don't know, man. It's kind of an important square. How you go about it, you know, that's probably important, but I think that all the central squares are important in every opening. Playing for them can't be a mistake, theoretically. That'd be a little too presumptive. If I'm playing white against the Dutch and I achieve e4, I think I've basically refuted the opening. If I can successfully play e5 against the bird's opening, in most cases I've kind of like busted their opening. That's the way I look at it. There are obviously more complicated ways of looking at it, I guess. Black just doesn't have any compensation here. I've got a strong center. Another pawn is weak on c4. I'm not sure that queen c2 is necessarily my best move. Maybe I should stay in contact with this pawn on d2. But he's getting mated here. Yesterday I failed to see a mate in 1 against Clash Kid. This is not a forced mate, but it's really nasty for black. He can play king f8, and I don't see a mate there. I was looking for queen e4. It looks pretty nasty after queen e4. That is a mate threat. I've also got knight e6 check. On your personal anecdote, I mean, that's dependent on that individual game, but theoretically, anyways, what am I doing here? Thought I was winning, but apparently life is not so easy. Knight e6 check. Oh yes, the f rook. All right. Luckily I have that, but he has king g8 now. Uh-oh. Oh, I have knight c7. It's good I had this all worked out. No, either way I have knight c7. Alright, I didn't actually calculate until now. Bishop takes e6 is forced. Bishop takes e6. And then he's still hanging on. He actually can play queen takes b2. Damn. Do I have a rook f1 check? Does rook f1 check help? Probably doesn't make a big difference. I'm going to end up playing that anyway. So there's no direct win. There was, I'm sure, a direct win. I thought he would take on b2 there. We've got a very strong attack, obviously. But there's still no mate. And now I guess I can play queen f3 and eventually we'll win. I just win a rook. Well, we might as well get our queen back in the game a little bit more. I'm sure that I had a better way to do this. But okay, we are up a queen or rook or whatever it is. Okay guys, last game. I've got one more 5-minute game. We'll finish this up and play this out. I was just kidding about the kingside pawns. I just want to go for the other ones. Alright, Sai Baba. Sorry I don't get to play anybody else. I've got to go, guys. Tomorrow night we're going to play a blitz tournament, 5+2 casual here on the stream. If Sai Baba's not here, I'll take the next player. Alright, D4. Thanks to you guys for subscribing and for watching, hanging out with me. Let's play E6. There was a what? Knight E7 was winning a piece. I'm sure I had... Oh, bishop F4 now. Not the bishop F4. I would have played like G6 if I had known you're going to play that. Oh, man. God, this stuff drives me crazy. I was telling the analogy how I talked to Grandmaster Nicola Sedlak, who recently wrote a book about this London system, you know. And he was talking about how people, you know, hate playing against the London system, and he feels like that's an advantage. Yeah, it's so boring, and like, I feel like when he said that, I was like, man, I'm like a perfect customer, because I just hate playing against this opening. It's boring. Every game is like the same. It's really tough and solid. I never imagined that it would get to the point where like grandmasters were playing such an opening. I mean, it's okay for Gada Kamsky because that's his style naturally. He's been playing... I mean, he's basically been playing this type of stuff all his life. Yeah, that's even more sick when they take with the c-pawn there. This player is 1500 bullet, playing the perfect London system. I always hated this position, but it's kind of the best that black can do with the e6 type of setups. You can just basically rehearse the same game with white and play it again and again and again and again and again. I mean, it's good for those of you who don't have time to study openings, but I'm surprised when I see like a grandmaster playing it with white. Aside from Gada Kamsky. And actually here, I mean, bishop f8 might be better. I think I had the same game the other day. Like, practically the exact same game in my simul against Poppets. Almost the exact same position. Maybe one slight difference. Like, what would the difference have been? I don't remember. Maybe he moved his bishop back to h2 or something. Usually that's a prophylactic move that they play. But yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's a good system. And it's like especially good if you have no time to study openings or whatever. But I think it reduces your creativity to play the same system again and again. I knew a couple of masters who did that with white. Stephen Muhammad and Cyrus Lakdawala were two American players who... Okay, here black is just winning a piece. These guys would just routinely play the same thing over and over and over again, and I was like, man, that's got to be bad for your creativity. You know, if you play the same opening again and again every single game, you're really limiting your creativity. I have to play at least 2 openings at any one time to feel like I don't drive myself crazy. Yeah, Sai Baba just blundered a piece. It clashes with my style. Yeah, it clashes with a lot of people's style. I mean, it's hard to get an active game with black. My recommendation would be to play g6. It's slightly more active to play g6 than e6, but you can't do that if your repertoire doesn't allow it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just suddenly start playing g6 because white might turn around and not play the London system. They'll play like c4 instead of... That's what happened to me against Miklos Galyash. He basically, you know, acted like he was going to play the London system. Then when I played g6, he played c4 and went into like a mainline King's Indian. I was like, dude, what are you doing? You've been playing the London system. Now you're gonna not play the London system. And he played like a sharp variation of the King's Indian, which I wasn't prepared for, and then beat me, or I beat myself, or whatever you want to call it. But so whatever you choose against the London system has to be relevant to what you play. But even if you do play the London system, I think it's great. It's fine. It's playable. It's solid. You need to play other stuff too. Don't limit yourself to just playing one thing unless you're a beginner. If you're a beginner, then you continue with that for a while and then eventually start branching out. But don't go like years and years playing just the London system. I mean, I think you need to play other stuff too. Here now, we're just going to take him out. Yeah, b3 is the best move. I'm going to play rook c6, double up. The d4 pawn is under attack, and that gives us time to stop c4. We're basically... Oh, yeah, that's all right. I thought I made a mistake, but it's all right. Yeah, I'm going to blunder eventually here. But maybe knight d5 is good. There is no back rank mate against me with my bishop on f8, so don't even think about that. Queen takes b5, knight takes e3. We're just winning. Anyway, guys, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Our moderator wasn't with us today because he's resting. We could use maybe like an assistant moderator for the weekday streams in the morning like this, if anybody wants to volunteer. Someone who's a regular on the stream, preferably. Knight takes c3 looks kind of strong. Knight takes c3 with knight e2, possibly. Though it may not be so simple. Okay, where does he go? Queen f1? Thought queen f1. Queen f1, knight e2 check. Rook takes e2, rook takes c1. That was kind of a problem for me. Queen f1. Now I can go here, right? And we're just up a piece yet. What would have happened if Queen f1? Am I stuck in a pin I can't get out of? There has to be a solution. I mean, if I have to, I'll play d5 and bishop a3 or something. Okay, it's his only move. And then just d5, yeah. And then this guy will come to the rescue to bail my knight out. In which case, we were just up a clear knight with a structural advantage. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. Thanks for playing. Submit your applications for an internship. Anyway, I just really, could use a little help if it's one of the guys who's regularly here. We will be back tomorrow. It's 7 p.m. CET. Blitz 5+2 casual tournament. And, we'll have some fun. It'll be just all the regulars, subscribers, everyone welcome to play. Soltigo will be here to moderate. Other than that, Wednesday is Weird Wednesday. Thursday is a subscriber stream when we do game analysis. Friday, more Blitz. And Sunday, simul as we did last night. Thanks for watching, guys. Please donate via PayPal. Support the movement to get a new chair. Broke my chair yesterday. Other than that, let's see. We've got to thank everyone for subscribing, and check out the YouTube channel, Video Chess Training, where I do upload the old streams. So if you wanna see the stream that I played, please check out YouTube, Video Chess Training on YouTube, and like and subscribe over there. All right, guys. So thanks, Boopy Pie, Loopy, and everyone for playing and watching. I will see you tomorrow night. Bye bye.